set for the YouTube live as well. And we do have the miniatures that we're going to continue working on. These are our 1,000th subscriber mini. So what that means is once we reach 1,000 subscribers by July 31st, we will be giving that miniature away in a roulette. So let me get everything set up beyond that. Get some more water in my wet palette, and I'll be right back, everyone. Thank you for joining. Just give me one brief moment. Okay, I am back. Thank you for waiting. We are going to be continuing our work on the Gobkin Girls. And we do have our live going up on YouTube as well. So we are good to start. So I'm just getting the wet palette situated, getting everything nice and ready. Gotta get my paintbrushes ready as well. And then we will be good to go. We don't have much left to do with these girls. And if we finish them, we will move on to Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Legion. But we are going to continue with the deep blue. For everyone joining, once again, thank you for joining. We are continuing to work on the Gobkin Girls that we've been working on for the past few live streams. Not much left to do. There's some highlighting to do on the skin. And on the blue, we want to do some touch-ups on. And a little bit of highlighting on the black. But beyond that, there's really not much left for us to do. And then we can move on to Anakin Skywalker. For those that did miss the me going live yesterday, I did not go live. In case you were wondering, yesterday was my birthday. I was a little bit under the weather, but I also wanted to make it a day for my family. So we spent the day together just being a family. So I'm just going to go in here, touch up some of this. Like I said, there's not much that we have to touch up with this one. There's some undercoat that I noticed after I had finalized it. I want to say it was last week. And for those that are joining us now, how has your week been so far? Let me know what's going on in your guys' lives. I always like to make sure that my guests are having a great day, having a great time. For those of you that are new to the system that I've developed as of the last live stream, if you see me looking over to my right over here, I'm looking at the YouTube that we have going simultaneously, making sure there's no chats that I need to answer, just like I would with you guys, looking up, making sure that there's no chats that need to be answered. So the blues we are done with. Now we can start highlighting the skin. And like I said, there's not a lot of skin that needs to be highlighted, just like there's really not a lot of blue that needs to be highlighted. Let me get in here. we used green skin, and we are going to highlight it with Goblin Green. Big M, Stacy, thank you for joining. If I had missed anyone, I do apologize for it. I appreciate everyone that is joining us on this live. I am using the prior Army Painter set instead of the new one. I'm waiting to get the new one. Not because I don't trust the system they have in place, but just because lack of funds have prevented me from being able to acquire it. Ben Elp, thank you for joining. Like I said, there's really not a lot that needs to be highlighted on this, and it's going to be a very subtle highlight. Personally, like, unless you knew that it was highlighted like you guys will, you're not going to be able to tell really, and that's the goal I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a very strong, brash highlight like I usually would. I mean, that is what we have so far. I'm going to do their forehead, down to their nose, and their cheeks. So for those of you that did not start the series from the beginning, we painted these two Goblin Girls as if they were sisters. And we made them a yin and yang kind of opposites. One obviously has a gun, one has a bow and arrow. And then that's why you see one has white hair with a black stripe, one has white hair with a or black hair with a white stripe, and one has white hair with a black stripe. Danny, thank you for following me. I appreciate it. Okay, with that being said, let me show them off. This is what we got so far. Like I said, it's a very subtle highlight. You can see a little bit on her hand right there, how it transitions down. And you can definitely see it on her bosom, how it kind of transitions inward a little bit. But that's pretty much it. We got one more thing to do with these two specifically, and that's the metallics on the band right here. And then we can move on over to Anakin Skywalker. I always find figure painting, I thought I said finger painting at first. Figure painting to be a peaceful hobby. Have always found that to be the case. And for those of you that are just getting into it, definitely keep up the work. There is no way to make a miniature wrong unless you are purposely trying to make it wrong. But there we have. OG Geldy, thank you for joining. So, with that being said, I'm going to take these two and move them over so they can dry. I'll leave the wet palette there. Now, I'm going to give people a choice. Because we got two figures already primed and ready to go that we can paint. So, figure one. Or figure two. For those over on YouTube, figure one. Figure two. I'm going to try getting that into a better light so you guys can see it. There we go. That's as good as I can get it right now. I apologize for those on YouTube. So, I'm going to let you guys pick real quick. If there's no choice, I will do Anakin, but I'm letting you guys pick figure one or figure two. Okay, while I wait on those, I'm going to go grab my water. Now, you say you're thinking of painting Star Wars. Are you thinking Star Wars Legion, or are you thinking, what's that new one that they came out with? Shatterpoint. Chunky Monkey, thank you for joining. So, we just finished up the Goblin Gals. I do apologize for the way I had to go grab my wallet. Go grab my water. I cannot talk today. So we did finish them up. Yes, this Star Wars, this Anakin is from Legion. I purchased him with a gift card from my work on Amazon. So what I think we're going to do, since there's not really a lot of people answering if we should do this figure or Anakin, we will move on to Anakin. So let me get my paints ready for him. We're going to need tan flesh. We're going to start with a chocolate brown for the hair, and we're going to slowly highlight that in. We are going to need, I already got Void Shield out. I got Deep Blue out, but I want a different blue. Ultramarine could work, but I'm thinking more along the lines of Crystal Blue for the inner highlights. But I'm going to need both of those for later anyway. Where is my smoke? Because that's going to be important for the pants. Let me see if I can do this real quick without closing the YouTube live. Oh, wait, why am I doing that? Okay, hang on. I just remember I kept the box. Okay, yeah, that'll work. Dragon, thank you for joining. I apologize for not missing you. Minner, thank you for joining. So, for those of you joining that have been following us, we did just finish the goblins. And we are moving on to Anakin Skywalker. So I'm going to start with a smoke color for him. I'm going to keep mummy robes out. I don't need dark sand. I don't need... Patty, thank you for joining. Could use the Void Shield blue for later. I will need that black. Is this gunmetal? Where'd my silver metallic go? There we are. As you can see, I'm getting everything ready. Minner, thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. So let's get to it. We are going to start with smoke for the pants. I'm going to see how that looks. Now, for those of you that have never worked with Vallejo model, paints, when it comes to the wood and leather set, the smoke is extremely liquidized. What I mean by that is it is easily fluid. Like, you can probably hear that. It's almost like a wash. So what I'm doing first is I'm just taking that smoke with my number 2. I'm just going to quickly brush it over the pants to try and darken that up and get those recesses nice and pinpointed. I cannot talk today, people, and I do apologize for that. Now, for those of you that are just now getting into miniature painting, be it those over on YouTube or those here on TikTok, I cannot recommend enough getting natural hair sable brushes. So, like we all have started off with, I started off with just regular synthetic brushes that you can get on Amazon for $5-10. Well, I decided to upgrade when I got a gift card from my work, and I got the Nick Pro sable brushes. And when looking at the price, I was like, you know what? There's no way that this price is accurate. It's $20. These truly are natural hair, and they are excellent. So this is what we got so far. This is just the pants. Now, like I said, I'm just darkening that up a little bit so we can go back with our Vallejo black, which is also a little bit thinned down. It's almost like a wash as well. And darken that even more. Because what we're doing is we're going to try to get it as close to, if not exactly, like the box art. Duck 3D, thank you for joining. LBJ, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Models and Games, thank you for joining. I am great. I appreciate that. Not Star Wars. What do you mean, not Star Wars? Do you not see the shirt? I mean, look, there's Grogu right there. So this is Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Legions. We had finished the Goblin Girls, and we are moving on to this. While you may not like it, I forget who said it. I want to say it was the Joker. Kirito, obviously. While you may not like it, Kirito, Anakin Skywalker is canon. He is in Star Wars, and he's not leaving. But no, we are working. We are working on Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Legion. I'm just getting some of the more finer details pinned out. Nothing wrong with that. A lot more people are getting into it at an older age. I, however, it's actually funny. So, one of the earliest memories I have is, and for those of you that have ever seen the original, and I mean the original box arts for A New Hope, with Leia in the white dress, legs sprawled out. Minner, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that. My dad had the original box arts for them for episodes 4, 5, and 6. And I was 5 years old. I remember this clear as day. I walked into our bedroom where we had all of our VHS tapes, because the VCR was in our bedroom. Me, my brother, and my sisters. Nice. Glad to see that you're a fan. But what ended up happening was I saw the original box art for A New Hope. And being a 5-year-old, my first thought was, oh, this is one of my dad's not kid-friendly movies because of the fact that Leia was in a dress with her legs sprawled out. And being a kid, I didn't know better. But anyway, so I'm sitting there walking down the stairs with A New Hope in my hand, and I'm looking away from it like this, looking at my dad, trying to look at my dad, and he asks me, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Can I watch this?" And he goes, "Yeah, you can watch it. It's a kids movie." Me not realizing what a rating was at the time. I just saw, like I said, Princess Leia, legs sprawled out. You could see her thigh all the way down to her ankle. I didn't know if it was good. Luke was sitting there with the lightsaber in the air, his shirt's open. So I thought it was an adult movie, not an adult, but like a rated R PG-13 because I was 5. So we're sitting there, we're watching it for the first time. Me, my brother, and my dad. My brother's 3 years old. And 3 or 2 years old, one of the two. And it ends. And the first words that come out of my mouth was, "Oh, it's over." My dad sat there, ran upstairs, grabbed the other two movies, Empire and Jedi, and runs downstairs as quick as he can with them. And he throws them into the VHS. And I didn't know what he was doing at the time. I was just a spoiled little kid. So I'm watching him do this. And he's throwing them in the VHS. And the next thing I know, I see the crawl pop up, and I got so excited. So we watched episodes 4, 5, and 6 that day for the first time. And then I looked up at him, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready for more Star Wars. And I said, "Is there more? Is there more?" And my dad looked at me and said, "No, bud, that's all they made." So I'm sad now, and he can tell I'm sad. He's like, "Hey, we're going to go watch them again later." I'm like, "Okay." So we turn it over, and the first preview, because this shows my age, we had previews. We didn't stream everything. The first preview that popped up on TV was one of the first previews for the Phantom Menace. So I thought that was a pretty neat thing that both me and my dad got to experience one of the first trailers for the Phantom Menace together right after we had just watched all of Star Wars together. Dragon, I can agree. I can agree with you on that. I'm not a fan that they changed it. However, some of the changes make more sense. For instance, in the original New Hope deleted scenes, Jabba is a old man. He's not a Hutt. He's just a really pudgy old man. So I understand some of the changes to it. But I agree. I wish they would have kept the majority of what they did alone. And you're completely right, Danny. That is exactly why he was so excited to show me and why we had such a great time. That's actually one of the things we've bonded over the years, was Star Wars. And I've introduced that to Little Scarecrow as well. In fact, Mama Scarecrow, who's on here right now, had she let me, my son would have been named Anakin. But no, I got vetoed on that one. Minner, thank you for the likes. 1,200 likes. And I just looked away for like a minute. Let's keep these likes going, everyone. Lexi, thank you for joining. We are painting Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Legion today. We had just finished our Goblin Girls for our 1,000 subscriber roulette that we will be having. And now we are working on the chosen one himself. So they did. They made it to where you can watch both Dragon. However, you got to own a VHS and the original copies. Can you explain what you mean by there's a lot of Landos? I'm not familiar with what you're implying there. Sorry, did I miss something, Dragon? You're saying what's not cool? I want to make sure everyone's having a good time and not being insulted. So if I missed something, please let me know. Okay, yeah, I get the Lando Calrissian. Yeah, so they're sticking to with the Blu-ray. They are sticking solely to the newest versions, which honestly it upsets me too, mainly because of the fact that if you look at how many versions there actually are, you have the original for all 6 original movies. Because even the prequels have been adjusted now. Um, but then you also have, after you have those 6 movies, you also have, um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue too. Um, okay, now I remember. Now, then after those 6 movies, you have the 1999 editions. You then have the Minner. Thank you for joining the team. After the 1999 editions, you then have the 2005 editions. And then after the 2005 editions, you have the 2014 editions that Disney used when they acquired Star Wars. So it definitely is a lot. I'm not going to deny that, but just because it's a lot doesn't mean you can't make it worthwhile. Like I said, even the original, even the prequels have all been adjusted. So while you may remember them a certain way, your kids won't. And their kids won't because it'll be adjusted after that. But even though I'm taking this into a more original or into a more traditional style with Anakin, I'm also adjusting it. If you notice, the brown on his coat is a little darker than what it is in the movie. I'm considering this more of like a transition between his Attack of the Clones phase and his Revenge of the Sith. Harley, thank you for joining. Brandy, thank you for joining. We are painting Anakin Skywalker right now. You know what? That's who I forgot to share it with. Minner, if you're in Bunny's live, do you mind sharing it over there? That's one thing I forgot to do, was sharing it to promote myself. We don't talk about the holiday special. I would rather talk about the what if Lego they are doing that is going to be canon to all of Star Wars than rather talk about the holiday special. We don't talk about it. But for those that are looking at me confused as to what I mean by the Lego um, canon Star Wars that they're bringing out, so LucasArts just announced recently that they are revealing a Lego What If. Yeah, the Ewok movies I'm fine with. I have no issue with those. Those were actually pretty good, pretty well received whenever they were even shown. The only one that really wasn't was not Caravan of Courage, but the other one. That was the only one that was actually poorly received. So I'm just going to repaint these legs. So the one thing that I have an issue with when it comes to the Caravan of or to the Ewok movies is they introduced several Jedi into them. Oh, the fandom does not even mention this holiday special. That is how poorly received it is. We do not acknowledge that it even exists. Similar to how thank you for the bears, Anthony. Similar to how who was it? It was I want to say Marvel didn't acknowledge. I want to say it was Thor: The Dark World. So, okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent here on the Droid cartoon show, and y'all are gonna have to deal with it. So, one of the things that my dad had bought was the VHS copies of the Droid cartoon show. So I had been watching those for a while. I didn't even know they were Star Wars when I first started watching them. And yes, they still have a special place in my heart to this day. Um, I have yet to show my son them, just because there is a little bit in one of the episodes that I think might scare him. Now, I say might because this is a kid who will sit there and watch all 7 Harry Potter movies, laughing when somebody gets Avada Kedavra. The Ewok show, I will say, was probably my more favored show. If we're going to go off of those movies, I would have rather watched that. And yeah, we're going to do smoke for that. That'll be a nice little touch. Anthony, thank you for the tiny dinies in the hearts. I appreciate it. I got to change brushes real quick. Whew. But yes, if you cannot tell, I am a diehard Star Wars fan. If there's ever any question that you have related to Star Wars, I will have that answer. Okay, I'm going to step away for 1 second to grab a quick drink. And let me get a show of hands of everyone who's just now getting into the hobby. Be it from watching somebody do it on YouTube or getting into like D&D and wanting to try it out. Let's get some comments going on who's just joining so I can give some helpful insight as well to what you can expect throughout the hobby as a whole. Dragon, put that hand down. I've seen your work. But no. One thing I always recommend, especially to new painters, is when you're going on a YouTube and you're seeing everyone do these different techniques. For instance, with this one, we're going to be doing object source sliding. And that is not an easy feat on any color beyond yellow. But since it's Anakin Skywalker, we are going to be doing it as blue. So it's going to be a little bit of a Outcast sent you a bunch of stuff, Minner. Well, now's a good chance, Minner, to go over to YouTube and subscribe. I mean, I do have several tutorials up there. The first few are more of basic beginners tutorials. How to thin paints, how to prime your miniatures, how to do pretty much anything that's basic. Gonzo, thank you for joining. And thank you for subscribing over there on YouTube, Minners. I do apologize. It does not tell us when somebody does subscribe over there. We are doing Anakin Skywalker, and this is what we got so far. We got his cloak, we got his pants, we got the start of his boots. We're going to be doing object source lighting with this one. And yes, I did have the missus pick out the hands. So with this figure, there's two different hands that you could pick from. And I'm just now realizing there is a 90% chance that my figure was marked wrong for the head, which would explain why his hands are so high up. If you're referring to my YouTube, it's actually in there. For some reason, TikTok will not show it. But my link to my YouTube is in my profile. Okay, so I'm just going to go as carefully as I can because we have a lot of face right next to it. Yeah, so he is in more of a defensive stance. But also what ended up happening was his arms are supposed to be slightly down so you can get more of the face. So either the head was marked incorrectly or for some reason my kit was not properly built. Okay, Minner, you have a great day. And thank you for joining us. "3D Printed Playhouse, thank you for joining. We are painting Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Legion today. We had just finished up our Goblin Girls that we had been working on, and we moved on over to Anakin Skywalker. I was about to say, I thought for certain you were a dragon, because I thought you mentioned it before, but I was not 100% sure. But this is what we got. So I did all that on his glove hand. Ignore the black up there. That's going to get fixed. Arlo Dog 3D, thank you for joining. Hey, don't be sorry. I mean, that happens to everyone. I've been following several people, and I've asked them before, hey, did you guys shut down or something? I can't find you guys no more. And come to find out, it wasn't that they were shut down. It's just that they hadn't been posting. So YouTube's algorithm took me off their radar, or them off my radar. That's why I try to do at least weekly posts over on YouTube. But we have kind of slacked off there. 11 Charlie, thank you for joining. Now, while we're on the tangent of Star Wars, what is everyone's favorite Star Wars show, movie, book, game? There's no wrong answers here. Anthony, are you referring to the 2003 miniseries, or are you referring to the 3D cartoon from 2008? Both are good options. I just want to make sure I'm understanding so I can get my mindset right. Both, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Both are really good. Um, I remember watching that micro series every week on Cartoon Network. That was me and my brother's go-to. Dragon says four. Four is a good choice, obviously because it started it all, but also because of the fact that we kind of got a good beginning to the trilogy. Trisha North, thank you for joining. Danny says Rebels. Rebels is really good. I felt it was more of a slow burn, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is it took a while for me to actually sit down and respect it for what it was. Um, and like I said, I had to do multiple watches for me to truly respect Rebels. Um, I had tried over and over to like it when it first came on. Um, the only saving grace for me when it came to Rebels was the reintroduction of Maul. I felt that tied everything in together. And I love how they finished off Maul's and Obi-Wan's backstory through it. Well, see, I grew up on the micro series. So, for those that don't know what the micro series is, and I keep mentioning it, the micro series was a 2003 um, show made by the same guy who made um, Samurai Jack. And all it was a pretty simple concept. They took several, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 minutes each episode, and they focused on either one Jedi or they focused on one Sith, and they just kept going that route with it. And they didn't bury it down into like, what's the easiest way I can explain it? They didn't make you feel dumbed down for not knowing who these characters are. Not like we have nowadays. And that's one thing I do despise about the fandom currently is that if you're not following everything to a T, the fandom's going to eat you alive. It's sadly the truth. I wish it wasn't that way. And if I could fix it, I would honestly have made it to where a vast majority of the fandom was not in it because it does nullify new members. Um, for example, a lot of people in the fandom really enjoyed Andor. I, however, did not. And this is coming from somebody who has tried multiple attempts to watch the entire thing. I can't get past episode 3. I've tried multiple times. I keep falling asleep during it. And everyone keeps saying, well, it's because it's not, the style's not what you're looking for. Well, yes and no. Because the style's fine. I like espionage movies. Like everything that it was promoted to be, I like. I just do not like how the acting is, or anything like that. When it comes to that series. Now, you toss some Star Wars Rebels into the mix, we might be talking. I might have a good time. Um, and you'll hear me call it Rebels 2.0 here in a minute. For those of you that have watched it, Ahsoka. All that is, in my opinion, is a Rebels reunion without the original cast. Believe it or not, that is actually a comment that I got was, well, just skip those episodes. They're not important. Well, if I skip them and they are brought back up at later time, were they not important then? Um, Now, obviously, based on my shirt, you guys can tell. I'll show the back off. You can really tell it. Where is it? Okay, it's down there. Where'd it go? I just saw it. I got the Mandalorian skull on my shirt somewhere up. It's on the seam. Starts right there. As you can see, I love Star Wars. I love the Mandalorian. One of my favorite characters of all time, Boba Fett. And it's going to have me verify. Four Keys, thank you for joining. Well, yeah, like I was saying, one of my favorite characters is Boba Fett. He has always been one of my favorite characters, even before the whole Mandalorian show came out and we got more info on what a Mandalorian was, even before A New Hope, or not New Hope, but even before Clone Wars, and we started seeing more and more Mandalorians. I just thought he was a really cool character, just like everyone else. And The difference is I saw his flaws ahead of time. Everyone else, when they watched the Boba Fett show, their first response is, "This isn't the Boba Fett I remember. Boba Fett's supposed to be a super cool bounty hunter. He's not supposed to be weak, yada, yada, yada." But the thing is, nobody remembers his actual fight. Not how it actually goes down, anyway. In the very first fight we see Boba Fett get into, he gets his he gets his rocket pack shot off by a blind or bumped into by a blind Han Solo and falls into the Sarlacc pit. In the original trilogy, Boba Fett has a total of, if I did the math correctly when I did this, because I wanted to prove a point, a grand total of 17 minutes with 6 speaking lines. That's it. And I still love Boba Fett, even with that flaw. A lot of people don't, and they fail to look at it as an actual flaw. Let me look at this real quick, see what color his pouches kind of are. So some of them are black, some of them are kind of a grayish. I know this one is kind of black because that's where he puts his lightsaber. Same with this one. Just got 2 of them. But yeah, everyone blames the Book of Boba Fett for ruining Boba Fett. However, if you actually watch the show, Boba Fett really doesn't do much. One of the most that he actually does is all he actually does in the original trilogy is capture Han, and even then it's not even him capturing Han, it's Vader capturing him. Get in, thank you for joining. I appreciate that. I forgot to do his face. Eat, pain, sleep. Thank you for joining. Just want to show it off real quick. This is what we got so far with our Anakin Skywalker. There's some stuff I got to repaint on the face and where the hairline meets, but it's an easy fix. Okay. Just double checking how long we've been going live for. Real quick. We don't have a hard stop at all today. Kind of do, we kind of don't. Trying to get it as much done as I physically can with this before I go to sleep. For those of you that are still joined with us and watching, how is your day going so far? It's Tuesday. For a lot of us in the US, it's a day before a somewhat 3-day weekend. I say somewhat because it all comes down to how your work has worked out. 4th of July. Ooh, viral infection, not fun. Our son had something like that, either that or it was allergies this past week. And I know that me and Mrs. Scarecrow are having sinus issues right now. Okay. That's not fun. Ugh. Yeah, our son's, it had turned into what looked like pink eye. And he had gotten sent home with it last Thursday. We took him to the doctor. Doctor looked him up and down and said, no, it's not pink eye. It's just something with his allergies. This is what we got so far. It's going to keep bugging me that keeps pointing it out on camera, and then it just disappears after I go back to it. Yeah, that's never a fun thing. Okay, so now we're going to do the metal bits. I think we left some on. Yes, we. Okay. I assume that means thanks. No problem. I mean, that's what I'm here for. Just trying to keep everything going. I do apologize if I do like get quiet from time to time. Um, when I'm painting very small detail, um, such as the lightsaber hilt, like I am right now, my mind tends to space out. Good thing we still had some of this out. Because I need just a drop, and that's a little too much because I'm not going to use all that. On the back pouch right here. Once again, everyone that is joining, I appreciate you joining and following us. while we paint this figure. And I do apologize if I get quiet on some of the more minute details. But this is what we got. Now, I saw that pack back there, and the first thing that popped in my mind was a med pack from the old Battlefront games. So I tried to remember what that looked like. It kind of turned out like a Pokeball. But I think it gives it a little bit of color, so that works out perfectly fine. There we go. He is almost fully base coated. I just have a couple of things I want to do with that lightsaber. So first and foremost, I've already primed it in white. But I'm going to take some mummy robes, which is an off-white. I appreciate that, Danny. I'm going to go for more of a live action hair. This is just the base coat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to darken up or really lighten up everything. And especially with where the lightsaber is, you'll see what I'm going to do with that lightsaber. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking some off-white real quick. And I'm running it up and down the side there. I'm going to start with some Void Shield Blue. I don't need a lot of this one. Oop, nope. Wrong one. We're going to do Crystal Blue. No problem. Actually, hold on. Let me see what a mixture of these two looks like. So Vallejo's really nice. You're right that some of them are too watered down. That's one of the issues I have with Vallejo. But Vallejo is a really good brand, regardless. I prefer the Army Painter. So I'm going to step out of the way. So as you can see, we try to get that little highlight in the middle. We're going to make that sure that pops out once we do another layer. But for now, this is what we got. So as you can see, there is already like a natural glow from my light showing where that blue is going to be on this figure. So that's the back. So this is actually a good video to film that. So everything back here is going to be glazed in a blue tint. Actually, this might be my light then. But, well, actually, no, because it's going to be the face here, the back there, and then a little bit in the front. Yeah, that's perfect. Shows it off perfectly. Yeah, Citadel is a little too expensive. However, it depends on the size pot you get. If you're going to get the jumbo pots, yeah, that's a little too much. You're not going to use it all. The color's going to be not too consistent because you're having to shake it more. The median's going to have to be spread out more. But what you can always do is like I'm using the original Army painter for 90% of my modeling right now. It's what I started with. It's what I'm used to. And it's my go-to. As you can see, I mean, we just pulled off. Back out again. We just pulled off an actual lightsaber coloring because if you look at the actual box art, it is not a Scarecrow video without the camera falling. What they usually do is they usually leave it white and just do the tip. But to me, that doesn't show us that that's a blue lightsaber. Whereas this will. Because we did a light inside. And I can even go lighter on that inside. In fact, I will. A little void shield blue. Bear with me real quick while I fix my camera. There we go. And we still left that tip, that bright blue along the edge as well. Yeah, these are all mostly the original line of Army painter. And we were able to pull off all that detail with just base coats. We are going to call it here. In the next live, we're going to do base coating the blacks more. We're going to probably, actually, let me do that real quick. Let me get those boots done. That the bottom of the boots aren't painted in. It's bothering me. But in our next live, we're going to do the highlights. We're going to do the eyes. Hopefully not mess the eyes up with these new paint brushes. That's one thing that I am curious to see how I can pull off. For all new painters that are getting into the hobby, that are worried about eyes and how small they are, everybody messes up with eyes. Especially the smaller ones. But we're going to go deeper into the hair. We're going to do the eyebrows. We're going to get that scar going. Because it is there. We're going to do I think that's really it. There's a couple of silver that I could touch up real quick. But then we'll get into the object source lighting after that. Donna Creation, thank you for joining. Tin and Fox, thank you for joining. We are actually just about to end. But I got everyone. If you're not subscribed to me here, go subscribe to me or follow me. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Scarecrow Miniature Painting, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. And it has all of our other affiliate links. So if you are looking for our Patreon because you want to donate, or you are looking for our Facebook because you want to see what we post over there, that's all going to be found over there on our YouTube description. And with that being said, once again, thank you for joining. We did get Anakin fully base coated. I'm gonna get closer and show everyone it. So this is what we got going on. And then in the next episode, we will do the highlights to the face. We'll do the hair highlights on the clothing, and then maybe even get into the object source lighting. But yeah, follow us over on YouTube. Follow us over here. Because if you're not following us over on YouTube and you want a chance to win this miniature that we finished today for our 100th subscriber giveaway, you do have to be following us on YouTube as well. Thank you, Dragon. And with that being said and done, I hope that you all enjoyed the video. And the live stream. I hope you all had a great time. And if there's anything that you guys have questions with, feel free to send me a DMs. Reach out to me on any of the other platforms we're on, Discord, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We are probably on there. Have a great day. Love ya.
Love you.
I take it he went back to sleep.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep.
Well, I knew he woke up that little bit because you blamed me.
You did. You wake him up.
Where'd you go?